Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back in with a quick lesson centered around Job 9:24. And so, I think people understand, what's going on. This is just to clarify and then also bring out another verse that shows the duality, between the Old and the New Testament. It's incredible. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He cover the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So it's obvious. Okay, so it's not obvious to the actors on YouTube, but it's obvious to us, that's a form of embarrassment and not actually, helpful or anything like that for a person's body or whatever. But the thing I wanted to point out is the thing that I found as well in Leviticus 13:45, and then tie it into the end times. So Leviticus 13:45, and the leper in whom the plague is. So again, this is a key word that will connect us to the plagues in Revelation 16. His clothes shall be rent and his head bare, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean. And so these are people that God hates, okay? And so he's embarrassing them and then sending them the plague, in this case, leprosy, something related to the skin, okay? And so I want people to understand that in the end times, which we're living in now, it's going to be the reciprocal, okay? They're going to be the covering the lip first, and then God's going to send the plague to people that do that. Revelation 16:2, and the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark, and upon them which worshipped his image. So all of those things are a form of worship. Okay, when you go into any kind of congregation and you follow along with whatever their practices are, you're worshiping, that God based on their practices. And then the Israelites, all the things that they did according to their laws, statutes, and commandments were worship, a form of worshiping God. And then all of it, okay? And so just know that this earth, I think we all know what I'm talking about here, that's a form of worship and allegiance to one another. And so that's why you'll see people like the Hebrews and End Times Teacher and all these people do that, okay? So they're going to get this, if they're lucky enough to be on the earth during that time. And they want to be, so they're definitely going to get it. So, and they also teach that Christ was born of a man and woman, which is an unforgivable sin. So they're completely toast. But just know that the interesting thing about the Old Testament and the New Testament, sometimes there's duality and the reciprocals happening. So in Ezekiel 9:4-6, and the Lord said unto them, go through the midst of the city and through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abomination that be done in the midst thereof. So this is a righteous mark in the Old Testament. Exemption from wrath. Verse 5, and to the others he said, in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Verse 6, Ezekiel 9:6, you rotate the 9, you get 6:6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. So in the Old Testament, it was a mark on the forehead for exemption, okay? And so in the last days, it's a mark for destruction, okay? But this mark is also happening in the New Testament as well in the last days, because that's Revelation 7, where the elect are sealed in their mind. So they're exempt because they're sighing and crying for all the abominations that are done. Their souls of the just complain continually. Okay, it's that group. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. This is why it says in Romans 11:7 that the elect have obtained it and the rest were blinded. So he's saying here, go after the Israelites too. Get rid of them. Okay. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So these are Israelites that are getting destroyed. And so how much do you think God doesn't care about the others? Okay. He's like, he cares about them even less than these people that are getting, that says slay utterly. And he doesn't care. Okay. And he's not changing his mind from the way that he did things there and the way that he's doing things now. Okay. Newsflash. We know this now. So Leviticus 13:45 is still in effect. Okay. It's just going to happen in the reverse order. We're going to see it in the reverse order in the last days, where the lip's going to be covered up, but then the plague's going to follow. Okay, and then the plague is those sores. And so if you violate God's laws, he's not going to change his mind. Okay, if he did that for a leper in the Old Testament, and then the judgment was to cover the lip and to cry unclean, unclean, he's not going to change his opinion. Those are 1-to-1. Okay. And so if a person follows along and worships the beast in that way, then even if they haven't actually taken a physical mark, it says here, and upon them which worshipped his image. And so that's a form of worshiping the beast. Okay. And so I was doing that at the beginning of this narrative because I didn't even know what it was. Okay, like I was unsure as to like what is this kind of thing, and now I know, of course, that it's for the end times narrative. And then we know now because our eyes are open to the fact that God sends the plagues. So that thing doesn't help anybody, okay? Because God's doing it from above, giving people, you know what I'm talking about. So it's not it's not transferred by the air or whatever. That's ridiculous. So that's the way I'm going to proceed forward, okay? And so I wouldn't take any chances, okay? For anybody out there, I wouldn't risk it. For the few people that come by here and know what's really, really going on, I wouldn't test this God, okay, at all. And so, no, absolutely not. That's again, this is one of the many, many, many reasons the list is too long at this point where I will never work in corporate America. And not only that, I can't even literally step foot in a lot of these buildings, and I don't care. But thankfully here in Houston, they don't have those rules anymore. And so for the last long time, I haven't had to, you know, and I won't, you know, anymore. So, well, I mean, I only have 2 months and a week left of teaching, but in that time, you know, I will not. So, but you know, this is just for people out there. All I can do is warn you, okay? And if a person out there is serious about the God of the Bible, then they should know that we live in very serious times. And so, take all these verses seriously. What's it going to hurt you to do that? If you're following the example of like any other group, then you're stupid. Okay, you're mentally retarded. If you believe that, you know, end times teacher and the Hebrews and all that actually genuinely care about God and his laws. If you actually believe that now, you're completely mental. So I would just go right to the source, you know, and live and die by these words. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.